Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Ryan. Gonna talk about some training, and as a quick note for those of you that watched my previous video on how I consume YouTube content and read articles, I'm glad I got a lot of comments on that, and I appreciate that. So I'm glad you got some good value out of that. So if you haven't seen it, it's a pretty good video. Take a look at it. It's a good way to kind of jam as much information in your brain while you're multitasking. Here I am doing some muscle snatches, excuse me, kind of a way to do an overhead shrug, sort of a kind of a ugly, basically an ugly snatch, but I kind of like it because it's like a front raise with a press and a wide grip, kind of forcing different kinds of flexibility. I find that this is kind of a really great way to just kind of, really work that extended position. And then I essentially build up to, I think I do some, yeah, this is right. I do some kind of power snatches, and then I basically give that up and start doing my work for the day, which is mainly some snatch grip deadlifts. And in this workout's are kind of a longer video than usual for training because there is all kinds of exercises, and this is kind of what I would call general strength. And what I'm doing is essentially just working everything but the everything but the kitchen sink, as they would say, because just trying to really build all my muscles up because of my weaker shoulder. And that's what this video is really kind of what I'm doing, trying to find a way to kind of work, make exercises harder without necessarily doing heavy weight, which is kind of what I ended up, which I tried to do, but you'll see later that I end up deadlifting fairly heavy anyway. But the problem with this is that with snatch grips, they really build your grip strength and test your grip strength. You can see here I eventually just get frustrated with the snatch grip deadlifts and said, fuck it, I'm going to go ahead and just do regular deadlifts. And I do. And it's amazing how much easier it is when compared to snatch grip. I mean, snatch gripping 300 pounds is pretty ridiculous. Anyways, so as you can see here, I'm actually using some compression pants. This is 471 on the deadlift, by the way. And the compression pants I'm finding to actually be pretty effective in keeping me basically warm up faster. It almost feels like a it is a light knee sleeve, sort of. The compression allows for my muscles to, I don't know if it just feels better. That makes me, maybe it's a placebo or whatever you want to call it, but it's been pretty good. And I have to say that doing lower body in compression pants really does make a difference. Now here in this section here, I do some overhead pressing with just 90 pounds, I think, maybe a little bit like 88 pounds, I think this is. And what I try to do is I try to square the camera so that it's, square with my body. And that way I can get an idea for my shoulders and seeing how uneven it is, like which side flares out more. It looks like my left elbow definitely is flaring out more. The right arm is extending a little bit faster. It's actually doing a lot of the momentum since it is a stronger arm. And you can see my left shoulder hike up a little bit. It's kind of hard to tell, and in truth, it's almost very difficult to see anything until I get really tired at the end reps. And you can kind of see how my shoulder, my left shoulder blade, my left side, you can see your left side as well. It's interesting because it starts to look different. I mean, there's nothing really to say that's really specific that's going on wrong, other than that the elbow is flaring out and that that there's an obvious weakness. And I don't know what I'm trying to do with this information. It's really more of a way to kind of coach myself and rehab myself and kind of fix myself, and it's kind of working itself out. I don't know what it is that's going to make it better other than just keep training and train through it. And I can't tell you. I mean, in my bench, the left side is always the grinder. The right side is basically the strength and the speed. So there's almost a lot of the time for max reps. It's almost like if the right side gets a head start fast enough, the left will just go for basically right along. Alright, so moving on to some bent over rows. Here you can actually see my left shoulder begin to fatigue a little bit, doing some kind of rear delt lateral raises, building the shoulders. And I do a lot of different exercises, and I think these are one of the things that become the exercise that I don't know if we all hate it, but I definitely don't. I don't find these enjoyable at all because it's not specific. It's too general. I like specific because with specific stuff you generally can make pretty good progress week to week. You can define technique and stuff like that, whereas with all this stuff that I'm doing now, it's all almost like random stuff, just a bunch of stuff to just kind of work all the muscles around different areas. And this is a great way to basically get the most out of a barbell. This is the reason why if you're trying to do your own home gym, or you already have your own home gym, you can come up with a bunch of different exercises. These exercises that you see in this video here, you can actually just do you know, on like an off day if you wanted to, and it would actually be pretty healthy for your shoulders, with the exception of maybe the regular deadlifts. This is a Klokov press, recommended on the cube method, and for those of you, I'm pretty sure you guys know Dmitry Klokov, pretty jacked individual. This one's a pretty interesting position here. I like it because with this overhead, you know, Klokov press, it's almost like, well, it's positioned for a snatch, right, or an overhead squat, but it also kind of gives you the feel of being able to stay tight in the upper back for a back squat. Obviously, the grip is a little bit, is much wider, but that's kind of what it helps exaggerate that position. It kind of forces your body to be more flexible. It's a way of being stretched. I mean, I don't know if that's really an accurate way of saying, of depicting what I'm explaining, but it's more like, because I mean, it's really not about flexibility. It's really about having active flexibility, being able to have range of motion where it counts, or use your muscles at the range of motions that count. And this is a pretty tough exercise. When you don't have this the flexibility for this, what happens is that you have, well, with this exercise here, the Klokov press, you're essentially trying to pull the bar apart, like you're trying to separate the bar. And it's great because you're working your traps, you're working your upper back stabilizers, and you're forcing some range of motion that you're not used to. And then I kind of end the workout with some overhead triceps. And a lot of the reason why I did all this is because, first of all, my camera is already set up, and the next thing also is that it's just convenient, you know, just using the barbell for everything. It can be sort of a bad habit sometimes, I'm messing with different grips. I will warn you though, with these kind of overhead tricep extensions, that this can be kind of rough on the elbow. So if you already have sensitive elbows, be aware. With this light of a weight, it's probably not that big of a deal, but keep that in mind. It's also good for improving your front rack, because you can see how I'm essentially almost front racking the barbell for like a clean or for a front squat. I'm just going behind my head, and it allows for stretching out the triceps and whatnot. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you got some information that will help you in your strength journey. Leave a comment below. Click like if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next video.